Hello again, everyone. Witch Doctor here, looking at the markets, and I'm currently looking at the intra-week activity of the major currencies that we look at, talking about the dollar index futures and compared to the other majors. You can see here on the far left, you got the dollar index, and we look at week-over-week activity. And mainly this past week, it was pretty interesting because we have been in a counter-trend retracement, but the question here is whether or not the dollar wants to get back above 80. You can see that the dollar index futures basically broke out of last week's high and was able to maintain the strength here, even though that we did retrace practically back to the closing price of the previous week. But you can see here that the closing price of the previous week came in, and the market used it as support twice, as a matter of fact. You can see right here. So what's interesting is that these levels do come into play, and they provide significant levels that you can pay attention to without having to overthink it. When you look at a lot of the other tools that people are using when you're talking about the pivot points and moving averages and all kinds of other different tools that people are using, this is just a simple way to allow the market to tell you what it wants to do. Let me go ahead and zoom in real quick, but mainly the what's important here is that we're looking for breakouts of the previous week here. You got the previous week's high, and we did try to break out at the beginning of the week, and it failed. And then we started to use it as resistance twice, and then once we broke out, it was pretty much the market wanted to move in that direction at least. For the middle of the week. You can see right here we broke out and then came back down to the previous week's high and then rallied off of that level. And then the market did use the previous week's high as support before failing here, and then we used it as resistance, and then we cruised down to the previous week's closing price here and then use that as support. So sometimes, hey, maybe the previous week's high isn't as strong of a level as you would think, but then again, you always have the previous week's closing price, which throughout the whole entire week proved to be a significant level of support for the dollar index futures, from which the market was able to find the buyers. And on top of that, you can see here that it was not able to go down below this price here, the dollar index futures. So that tells me right there that the buyers were a little bit more aggressive than the sellers. You can see that the buyers were not willing to allow the dollar index futures to go down below 79.40. And then if you look at last week's trading range here, you can pretty much connect the lows, and you can see here that there was this little bit of a trend line there. And again, we're looking at the 4-hour chart. So last week's trading activity compared to this week's trading activity, and when you go look around the board, you can see that the Japanese yen did break down below last week's low, and the market did continue to push to the downside after the breakdown. So 78.01 was the breakout point, and it pushed all the way down to just about 77.40. The market basically continued to push about 60 pips. Not very much activity there, but again, the previous week's low acting like a magnet line on Friday. Swiss franc again mimicking exactly what the dollar does, and you see that we broke out of the previous week's high early in the week, came back down to the previous week's closing price twice throughout the week, and that's really where it wanted to use, where it was looking for support here. But again, you can see how it was pretty much in an uptrend. Same thing with the dollar index futures, and the same thing with the Canadian dollar here. Remember, those three currencies have a tendency to mimic one another. And on the flip side here, you can see continuous selling, a little bit more selling here in the euro, where we did finish on the lows, but the market did try to get up through the previous week's low, but was not able to sustain any kind of rallies. Same thing with the pound here. The pound looks like it's actually moving lower, and as well you got the Australian dollar. Remember, the downside has a little bit more erratic price action in compared to the upward move, but overall you can see bullish positive dollar index futures, and it continues to show a little bit of strength. I'll be looking to see if we have a little continuation of the dollar index future strength going into this next week. And if that proves to be the case, then that suggests that you're going to have Euro, Pound, Australian dollar selling, and Swiss franc, Canadian dollar buying. So that's all I got for this market wrap, folks. This is Wish Doctor signing off. I hope it helps. Good luck in your trading. Stay safe out there. Best regards to all, and we'll see you at the next market wrap. While I got you here, I wanted to take a quick moment to say that if you really liked what you're looking at here in the free Forex market wrap video, I wanted to give you the opportunity to come take a look at the premium weekly Forex market wrap video that I do every week. And basically it's a little bit more in depth, or should I say a lot more in depth information about the markets that I cover. And you can see here that in this short video I go over the basics about what I've been looking at on the major currencies. In the more in-depth market wrap video, I take a look at a in-depth analysis on the 6 major currency pairs. You also get actionable trading scenarios. The important thing here is that we're offering a 3-day risk-free trial, so you don't have to pay a cent. It's about a 30 to 45 minute video that'll go through all the major currency pairs that I look at, and it shows you a lot more in-depth analysis and forecast looking at the longer term picture and the big major trends that are affecting what you're looking at on the lower time frames that you're looking at on a day-to-day basis. So take a moment to go take a look at the premium market wrap video. You can see the link here provided, www.traderstouch.com/3day, and it also includes a free membership to the Traders Learning Network, where you can meet other traders that are like-minded individuals, and they're basically there to help everybody looking at the same markets as you. So good luck, hope it helps, and look forward to seeing you on the inside.